Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of The Big Ticket. I'm your host Vic3. I'm joined here by my co-host Jerry Lee, Backyard Birds Podcast. Jerry, how's it going?
It's going good, man. It's gonna be a good one.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Listen, I thought we would change things up this week. We've seen a lot of turmoil this week. Earlier, I put out a tweet that kind of like just blew up. It divided the fan base. There was a lot of conversation going, and it got me thinking about, our fan base and the difference between the generations. For us, we're 90s and 80s babies. We seen the worst of it from these Eagles teams. And now, this younger generation, they haven't been exposed to all that hardship. They grew up, coming into the 2000s in the Donovan McNabb era where they had, four NFC Championship playoff appearances. They got to go into the Super Bowl, even though it was a loss, but they got to experience that. They got to see the Andy Reid era. That's basically where they came through, and they got spoiled by that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So I thought it'd be awesome to bring, three young Eagles content creators. First of all, let me say I got MG Nas, also Big Play Slay and Nightinqs. So let me just bring on the fellas on real fast. Let's get started. All right, here we go, fellas. How we doing today?
What's going on?
What's good? What's good?
Hey man.
Hey, what up, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good?
I think it's awesome to get you on here. Like I said, I wanted to take of the younger generation. I want to see where you're at because, it's cliche to say, but you are the future of, what's going forward. You gotta listen, see what we've done and, take that and go from there. But let me see, MG, my guy, real quick before we start this off, let the people know where you at, the station, everything, what you got, the subscribe, let them know where you're at.
Hey, bro. My channel's Talking Sports with MG Nas, but you could just type in MG Nas and it'll be popping up. And hey, bro, I'm just a young 15-year-old who just likes sports. I like the Sixers, I like the Eagles, and I just express that through my channel and through my content. So y'all can subscribe. And hey, man, every content creator on this panel, man, they've done great things. And I just love talking sports with the guys and just enjoying it, man.
Whoop whoop.
Awesome. Great to hear. Nightinqs, my guy. We talk in DMs, every Eagles game. This is my guy. I always talk to him. He always has ups and downs and exciting. I seen him come through with Benny the podcaster, doing good things on your show. You got, what is it, the Just Rivals, blowing up this playoff. I love the format you had. I love what you were doing. And I think, you're doing big things, especially when the season comes back. So expect a lot out of them. But let the people know, where you're from, where they can find you, and what you're all about.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, you can find me on YouTube. You don't even need a link. You can just type in Nightinqs and it'll pop up. Since I'm pretty sure the only one on YouTube with that name. So you can find me there. At Real Nightinqs on Twitter. You can find me there. And believe that is pretty much all of my socials. I don't really use Insta, so you can follow me there. And right now we're at 233 subscribers on the channel. So 7 away from 230 and less than 100 away from 300. So we're trying to get to 300 pretty quickly. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Last but not least, we've seen him on the shows around. We've seen him on East Meets West. We've seen him on AK's channel. We've seen him all around the place.
Slay.
He's got multiple names, multiple aliases. He's Mr. Howie Roseman, Mr. Giants fan. We got Big Play Slay in the building.
Hold on.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man. What's up, fellas? I just want to say appreciate you guys for having me on, first of all. I do appreciate that, but hey, love the introduction except the Giants part.
Bad take, Slay.
But you can go find me on Big Play Slay on YouTube. Type it up. It'll probably be like highlight videos of Darius Slay, and then I'll probably pop up right after that. So you can go find me there. And then I'm on Twitter too, so that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Let's just go to the chat right quick. Let's just, shout the people out that came through. First and foremost, my guy, Jill from 215. Thank you. Appreciate you for coming through. As always, that's my co-host on the East Meets West. Thank you. Come on, man. The man, the myth, the legend, Papa Sore. Thank you for coming through. Jalen, what up, my guy? Appreciate you. Jinx, he gets a little crazy sometimes. What up, my guy? Philly halftime, appreciate you coming through. We chat up on Twitter. Got great takes. Hope one day we can bring him on. The loyal man, BLSG. Thank you, my guy. Thank you. You're amazing. Key in the building. Shout out to her. She made the intro, incredible intro. Makes all our outros. Thank you for coming through. But yeah, man, let's get this started off. Let's start this off right. There was a lot of news this week. We all know tampering period went by. Free agency has come. And there were some big deals. Biggest of all, Deshaun Watson and, that whole melee that was going through. First, there were deals with the Panthers. They could have been possibly the Saints. And then we heard about Atlanta. There were some rumblings of the Browns, but nothing came about it. But when it was all said and done, Deshaun Watson is traded to the Cleveland Browns. How does everyone feel? Let me just start off with my co-host. Let me get that season experience, a commentary on this. Because we've been going back and forth in the chat about Deshaun Watson. So let me just get your take real quick on how you feel about this deal.
Well, what kind of stumped me was like all the hold up on it. You know what I mean? Like all the teams holding up the trades because of it. That's what really took me for a loop. I figured it'd be like really quick and decisive actually after, as soon as everything started. But yeah, it just kind of got held up. But I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? The Browns are looking good. I mean, they got a team over there. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah. MG, let me get your thoughts. Deshaun Watson, he's a great player. He had that issue early in the season, but it's been put aside. Apparently nothing's going to happen. What do you think about the Browns making that move?
I mean, it was a really big move. I mean, Baker Mayfield has had a lot of inconsistencies, so the Browns felt like they needed to make a huge upgrade. And I think Deshaun Watson's a big talent gap from Baker Mayfield. That's no disrespect to Baker, but Deshaun Watson, when he's on the field, has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback that we've seen in the NFL. So, I mean, all things considered, look, the Browns, is no doubt that when they have Deshaun Watson for the next 5 years, that is Super Bowl or bust, because you paid him all that money guaranteed. You traded away 3 first-round picks, 2 other later-round picks. The next 5 years, you got to try to win a Super Bowl or make an appearance because you traded that. But I think they made the right move because Baker was angry at that point because they were interested in him. So Baker no longer wants to be there. You have a chance to get Watson. You gave him all that guaranteed money. Now it's just time for him to work. Get him back on the field. Get him back playing. And, I mean, the talent they have there is great. They got Amari Cooper, who can be solid. Nick Chubb, who's a great running back. A solid defense. Myles Garrett, one of the best defensive players I've seen in a minute. So you got a lot of great talent around Deshaun Watson already. And as long as you get him on the field, get him right, hopefully everything else is past him. And I think it's a good deal for the Browns. But I have high expectations for them. I expect them to go far. I expect them to go to the playoffs, make championship runs. So I have high expectations for the Browns, and hopefully they meet them with this deal.
There's a lot of rift going on with these other quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Where he was thinking of going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm really curious to what's going to go on with that because there's some really mad quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a great take because once that relationship with Mayfield and the Browns soured, it looks like the Browns had to do what they had to do just to get Watson because they knew Mayfield didn't want anything to do with them anymore. But that was a great take. Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts on the Watson deal.
First off, I just want to say, all that talk of the Panthers, Saints, Falcons, and it looked like, Watson was going to go to any of these teams, and it even said that the Browns were out of the Watson situation, but then it said that Watson was going to Cleveland, which really surprised me. But, I mean, I completely agree with what MG Nas said. I really like this move for Cleveland. Obviously, you got the Amari Cooper trade, and he's a really solid wide receiver. I think he's gonna fit really well with Deshaun Watson. The running game with Nick Chubb. I've been high on Nick Chubb for this past season. I mean, there's not much to explain about Nick Chubb. He is a really, really good running back, along with Kareem Hunt in that tandem. I really love it at Cleveland, and of course the defense, like MG Nas mentioned. It's just a good deal for Cleveland. Even despite the injury, Baker Mayfield had a lot of inconsistency. I did not like his play whatsoever. So I think Deshaun Watson is going to fit really well with the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% Mayfield. You know, I've said it time and time again. I feel like Mayfield could have cost them 2 Super Bowl appearances because of his play. You know, that team was set up. And we got to talk about it. Cleveland Browns were a team that no one thought that they would ever get out of the hell that they've been in. And what was it, the past 5 years, you'd say? They've been, you know, steadily, you know, getting themselves and progressing to be better. And I think the past 2 seasons, that was a good window for them. You know, now with Deshaun Watson, it seems as though that window has opened up. But we'll see what happens. But Slay, let me get your thoughts on this blockbuster deal for Deshaun Watson.
So 3 first-round picks, 2 additional picks with that. You get a top 5 quarterback when he's on that field. He can really help you out. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback. We all know this. When he's on that field, he is one of the most dynamic players, and you have another dynamic player on that team with Nick Chubb. I don't know how you're going to stop that. One player can run out the pocket, and then you got Nick Chubb who can bulldoze people all around the field. And then you have Kareem Hunt. You have who you just added, Amari Cooper. You lost Hooper, but you still have Njoku, and one of the best offensive lines in the league. This team is set up for a Super Bowl run in the next 5-10 years, and maybe the next 15, because Deshaun Watson is still 26 years old. So you get Deshaun Watson, you expect to win a Super Bowl. You had to give up a lot, but you were certain that Baker Mayfield didn't want to stay with you guys, so you have to get an upgrade at the position, and you just got that with Deshaun Watson. And I think Andrew Berry, he understood that Baker didn't want to be here, so I could get an upgrade at the position and go try to win it all. And that's what they did here. And I like the move for the Texans. I thought they won this deal more because you're getting a lot of picks out of this. But good for the Browns. They get a top 5 quarterback, and now you go try to win a Super Bowl. And AFC, which is loaded with quarterbacks now.
It's going to be a rough one over there.
That's like World War X over there.
Yeah.
And you make a good point also with the fact that he's only 26 years old and he's already had a season off. So his body is well rested. But you also made a point of what the Texans will receive. It seems as though they're going to get a lot. So Texans are going to receive 3 first-round picks, respective years for the 22, 23, and 24 season. In addition, they get a 3rd rounder and a 4th rounder. So with the compensation, do you think that's fair with what Watson it brings to a team? Let me start off with you, Big Play, because we were just last with you.
I'll say this, I think like just for his play on the field, when we like see Watson, I think you should like know in your head that guy is worth that much. But the thing is, and it's like as much as I love Watson when he's on that field, I don't know if you should have like paid him that much though, because like he's like because he has been resting for like a year, and like, do you want to really pay $230 million fully guaranteed to a guy that hasn't played in a year and he's gonna get suspended, most likely? Do you really want to do that? If like even for how good he is, do you want to do that?
And not just that, his last year with the Texans, he only went for 4-12.
That was on it. So I don't know if that
also too. He had like a career year when he had that 4-12 season, so it's hard to gauge where he's at right now.
Yeah, but like for me personally though, I just think it's just too much money. I think the picks make sense though.
Nightinqs, what are your thoughts on the deal?
Okay, going off of what Big Play Slay said, if you look on the field, I mean, he is an excellent quarterback. When a play just it doesn't work out at the start, he makes something happen, and that's why he's in the best quarterbacks in this league. Well, besides last season. I mean, even so, wait, what was the money again? Like, forgot.
240 million a year or 30 million.
He gets 184 over the first 4 years, and then it's a raise of $48 million. But he's
That's
getting it
like
over
80.
the original contract.
Yeah, that's like $80 million more than Rodgers, I think, in fully like guaranteed part. That's a lot of money, bro. That's way too much.
Yikes. That is a ton of money. And I mean, coming off of, he did not play the last season and he gets this amount of money. I mean, if you're basing it off of the eye test on the NFL field, then yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But I mean, it's just way too much money then from the Cleveland Browns. And for the picks, I mean, the Texans will receive 3 first rounds, so that means Cleveland gave up 3 first rounders. I mean, I don't know. I guess in my sense, that seems like a little too much. It does make sense. I'm not saying it's completely awful, but I mean, I think Cleveland got a little too excited here, so that's just my take on it.
Yeah, true. MG, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to unwrap. I mean, you giving up 3 first-round picks, but I think the guy said it best. When you have a guy in Deshaun Watson, when he is on the field, he has shown to be a top 5 quarterback. And with the way that quarterbacks are valued, especially in today's NFL, you're going to have to give up that. And I'm not mad at the Browns. I think it's fair value. I think the Texans get a lot. They believe in the kid Davis Mills down there, and he showed some flashes last year. So I think it's a fair deal because in the future, we're talking about like 5 to 10 years from now, the value for a top 5 quarterback is going to be even more than this. So I believe with this contract and with the picks that it got, it's just right now it looks like a lot, but in 5 years from now, the value is going to be even higher for a top 5 quarterback. So I think the Browns did what they had to do, and I'm not mad at the picks that they gave up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know what I mean? It's going to play out, but we'll see how it goes. That is a lot, man. And then the money on top,
Yeah, for like most guaranteed money, though, on a single contract in like NFL history, this is how it's looking right now, just for like the top 7 quarterbacks or 5. Watson, he's at $230 million. Rodgers is at $150.7 million. So that's 80 more than Rodgers. Allen is at $150 million. Patrick Mahomes, who got paid 10 years, is at $141.5 million. And then Prescott is sitting at $126 million with 1 playoff win. So
that guy got way overpaid too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for that deal for Cleveland, like you got to understand their fan base and what they've been through, though. So when you're looking at it, especially the way it's set up, it's Christmas. They got the best quarterback in the league. Now they have honest hopes and honest aspirations of winning a Super Bowl.
I don't know about the best quarterback in the league, man.
Well, I'm just saying for them, the way they look at it. The way they'll look at it is they have the best quarterback in the league right now. Great. They have, like you said, Amari Cooper. You got Nick Chubb. You got Kareem Hunt.
They got a good team.
You have DeForest Johnson, another running back. There's Felton. There's so much depth in their running back room. It's not even funny. One man goes down, you're fine with the next man up. The defense, we all know about it. Myles Garrett gets it done. Mm-hmm. But again, can they put it all together in this season? Because with a deal like this, just like it was said before, it's Super Bowl or bust. You have at max 3 seasons to get there.
Right.
So you're going to have to ride this out. But I'll say this, though. For Cleveland, this is something that's unexpected. This is something that they're not known for. So for them and their fan base, you got to be happy for them. Because again, we were in that position before where we never won a Super Bowl. Our fan base never seen anything other than a couple of championship games, but never a Super Bowl appearance. So for them, I'm happy for them.
I don't think they're gonna get it done the first year. I don't.
Not year 1.
Yeah, but they might make some noise on that in year 1.
Oh, absolutely. They definitely make some noise. I mean,
Watson
we'll see what
is the greatest quarterback they've ever had. That's crazy. I mean, second because they've had Otto Graham too. Otto Graham, I forgot about him. I don't know. Is he top 3 all time for them already? Even though he hasn't stepped on that field ever in a Brown stadium, not actually there, but like with a jersey in the Brown stadium.
Well, no disrespect to Vinny Testaverde, because that's the only other quarterback I could think of that's been good for Cleveland. And you said Otto Graham, but that was, let's be honest, that's the Colts. That's their thing. They moved out.
Yeah,
you can't count that anymore. So yeah, Deshaun Watson, just for the signing, automatically becomes Cleveland's best quarterback
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, all time.
all time.
Like
I mean,
All time.
kudos to
Who
them.
else?
You know,
Who else do you have? Tim Couch, Deshaun Kaiser, like
Ryan
seriously,
Zubay, Ryan
Coach-
Brady-
Zubay, freaking Barney
Brady
Cosby,
Quinn. You can keep on naming them, but even though they
Aaron
don't have,
Anderson.
honestly,
they don't have the pedigree to shit out.
Baker was on track to be that. He was on
He was
track.
on track, but let's be honest right now. If you're going to compare the two, that's why the deal was made.
Yeah,
Sean
that's why
Watson
the
is
deal
the
was
better
made.
quarterback.
But before
Yeah.
this trade, that's crazy that Baker Mayfield was going to be their greatest quarterback if they didn't trade. If they didn't
Yeah.
trade this for Deshaun Watson. That's crazy. To
Now,
think.
but you
But
know,
the
you
good
guys
thing
are
for that
basing you guys are basing his play on what he's already done, not what he's
Right.
going to do.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. There's a lot to go with, though. There's a lot to go with.
Yeah,
You got a
yeah.
good track record.
There it
But
is. We'll see.
Also, when
I
they
think
there was a
Texans
lot of
could've
news
won.
too.
yeah, they
Done
could have
what?
won one Super Bowl with them though. I feel like the Texans could have won
Yeah.
at least one Super Bowl with Watson if they kept DeAndre Hopkins
Yeah.
and then some places fell for them. Like if they did
They
something,
messed up bad.
they would
I
have won.
think I think they could have done something if Bill with O'Brien didn't have full control of the team. If he was
Yep.
in the GM and was the coach solely, it'd be fine because there'd be no contention on the team.
Mhm.
You know, that team was built to win. That was
Yeah,
the
they
only
almost beat
time
the
when we seen who? The Chiefs. Yeah,
They
yeah,
almost beat the Chiefs. They were up 24-0 and the Chiefs came back on them, but that was like a couple
Mhm.
years ago, but they almost beat the Chiefs. If they were so close to beating them too, and then right after that, I think they would have faced the Browns in the championship game, and then
You know,
who knows what happened. Or the Titans.
You know,
I think.
when Watt went down, and
yeah. Stepped up.
when Watt went down, and also they lost that receiver, it was over.
Yeah, well, Fuller.
Yeah.
Go for
As
it.
always, though, that's always the case. But also in NFL news, there was a big signing. You know, we had a lot of deals that players going back and forth, but this one kind of took us by surprise because we all knew there was a setup. We all knew in December there was rumblings about this receiver, meeting up with his former quarterback roommate out of Fresno State. We all knew the relationship, and we all knew that Mr. Aaron Rodgers was a possibility that he might leave the Green Bay Packers, but instead he stayed. But through all, Devontae Adams was traded to Las Vegas Raiders.
Yo,
Fellas, MG, let me get your thoughts on that move.
Bro, so quick story. I was sitting here playing a game, right? At my desk just chilling. And I looked at my phone and I'm like, there is no possible way that the Packers, after keeping Aaron Rodgers, just traded away Devontae Adams. But it happened. And look, it must have been a horrible situation there because Devontae Adams, you get your quarterback to return for a few more seasons.
for you.
For you. And then other reports I heard after the trade that they offered Devontae Adams the same amount of money that the Raiders gave him. So Devontae Adams really must have not wanted to be a Green Bay Packer because from what I've heard, that they offered him the same amount of money. They brought back Rodgers. Devontae Adams still said, "Get me out of here." And look, the Raiders, man, they wow. I mean, last year they made the playoffs and they had a good fight against Cincinnati, right? But we knew they weren't going to get over the hump. Obviously losing their other receiver to unfortunate situations.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot that was going on. But now you got a guy like Devontae Adams to go with Derek Carr, who honestly didn't have a bad season last year. You got Darren Waller, who's a good tight end. You got Josh Jacobs, who's a solid running back, consistent 1,000-yard type of back. You got some talent there. They're in probably the best division in football, though. So
Definitely, that's not even a question.
Fresno State.
This is just like the Randy Gregory thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Big FU bomb.
Well, just to correct that with the Packers, what they did was they offered the same deal, but they added a bonus. I think it was $7 million to cover the state tax.
Mhm.
Because in Wisconsin, you got, I think it's like a 60% state tax.
State tax,
So what they did was it was the same deal, but it was with the caveat of we're basically paying your state tax. We're going to make the same thing that the Raiders got, but you're not going to have to pay any taxes on it.
Mm-hmm. And good thing for Nevada, their state taxes are A-OK. For
No state tax.
Yeah.
Gambling has taken them far.
Yep. So Devontae Adams said, Vegas, I don't have to pay anything. Oh, yeah. So, but I think it was a good deal for the Raiders, and they had to do something because that division was getting a little out of hand. I mean, you see what the Chargers did and the Broncos. I mean, that division is just insane. So the Raiders had to do something. And pairing up two Fresno State teammates, they've won their conference championship together. So great connection there. They work out every offseason. And Devontae Adams brought a house in Vegas last year, so he already has a place to stay. So everything is trending towards the Raiders making one of the best trades we're probably going to see in a while. So great trade, in my opinion.
Definitely. Las Vegas did their best to try to keep up in that arms race they call the AFC West. But Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts on this deal. What did you think about Devontae Adams to the Raiders?
Of course. Right. Raiders, absolutely excellent move. You already know Fresno State teammates being reunited. They already have the connection. They already have the chemistry. It's gonna give the Raiders offense up a notch. Raiders offense, last year was not even that bad anyways, and them going up a notch, for this season is gonna be extremely helpful to them. And if they made the playoffs last year, and even though the AFC West is really, really competitive now, I still believe they're gonna make the playoffs this year as well. Even though this is just one move, I mean the Raiders defense. I know they lost some guys. Still pretty solid. They made a huge jump on the defense from previous years. So I still think they'll make the playoffs. On the Green Bay side, I was like MG Nas. If Aaron Rodgers was staying, right, then there's like absolutely no way Devontae Adams would be leaving because his quarterback, was staying in Green Bay, but of course, the same deal. But like you said, taxes ruin everything. So he goes on to Las Vegas, right? And I think the fact that Derek Carr, as his quarterback and from Fresno State also plays a big deal there. But it is what it is for the Packers. It's really tough. I know obviously Aaron Rodgers has a lot of other targets. I mean, Devontae Adams is one huge one, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers will suffer that much, but this is pretty bad.
About that.
That's
pretty
another
bad.
Conversation. That's another conversation.
That's a whole nother thing, man. That was his number one target.
That was, Rodgers is Rodgers, but that was his guy. That was his guy. I still think Rodgers is an MVP talent, but Devontae was his guy.
That was a short thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, but I mean, I don't know if he's going to suffer. He'll definitely suffer at least a little bit because, again, that was his guy, right? But
they're going to have to find somebody in the draft.
Yeah. Listen, I think what is Randall Cobb is the number one receiver.
Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, and
Lazard, did he sign?
Who they drafted.
He signed back on?
He's coming back. They put like a
10. Okay.
They put a 10
and then they have Amari Rodgers.
Amari Rodgers, who they drafted last year.
From Clemson.
They have a worse receiving core than us right now. Just imagine that.
It's really on Rodgers right now. But big play Slay. What are your thoughts on this move to Vegas?
As the guys pointed out, I think this was a good deal for the Raiders. I mean, you get arguably the best receiver in the game. A lot of people say he's the best. I think it's really between him and D-Hop when they're both on that field. But Devontae Adams, he makes his case for why he's number one in the league in terms of receivers. But I don't know, man. The Packers, they fluffed up here. Like, you don't got no receivers. Like, I get that Rodgers is great and all, but, like, you don't have any receivers. Like, what are you doing? And then for, like, Adams' side, as MG pointed out, it didn't even seem like he wanted to be there because they gave him the same deal that the Las Vegas Raiders gave him, and he declined that. And then he went to Las Vegas. And as MG also pointed out, he already has a home in Las Vegas. So he kind of already is suited to go there. He's playing with his former teammate from Fresno State. I thought they highway robbery the Packers. This makes a lot of sense.
That was a steal. It was definitely a steal.
Yeah. And they just added Chandler Jones too. They added Chandler Jones. People forget that they added Chandler Jones. And you got Hunter Renfrow, the best slot receiver in the game. You got Darren Waller, a top 3 tight end in the game. You got Josh Jacobs, arguably a top 10 running back in the game. And then you have a solid offensive line with Derek Carr, who is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the game, who puts up solid stats every freaking year, and consistent stats too. And he goes out there and does his job. I think
you got to win,
makes a
though.
lot of Raiders. Yeah. And that too. They got a new head coach too, so they needed discipline, and I think this makes sense for them.
Yeah, for the Raiders, it made a ton of sense. Like I said, it's an arms race in the AFC West. But for the Packers, it leaves them in a big hole. We talked about it. Randall Cobb being the number one, Lazard being the number two. I think that they're going to be one of the teams that are going to focus. They're going to have to. They're going to focus heavy on the receiver. Trey Burks. That's going to be a move made for him. Any top receiver out there, they're going to try to get because they have. I don't know if they can make a trade for anyone right now. There's no receiver that I can think of. Maybe a Jarvis Landry you can get off of free agency. Emmanuel Sanders, maybe. But again,
what about
Robert? You're going to have a lot of one-year deals.
Woods? The Rams want to trade Robert Woods. What about him?
What? How much time is he going to miss because of his injury?
His injury, right? So even if they
you got to think about that too.
And when did he get injured last year? When did he get injured?
Like
I think it was like November. I think it was November.
Because OBJ, when he signed with the Rams, it was like a day before Robert Woods. The day, I think it was when OBJ signed, the day right after Robert Woods tore his Achilles or his ACL, one of those. I think he tore one of those. And then I don't know. It could be to like week 6, week 7, maybe around then. I don't know.
It's going to be a patchwork of receivers. They're going to have to make it work. But the one thing they got going for them is the Packers do have a good running game. They got two beasted running backs back there. So we'll see what happens. They paid Rodgers. Now he's going to have to earn it. It's all on him now. There are no excuses for him.
I really want to know what the conversation was. What happened? You know what I mean? Because something happened underneath. Something had to happen.
Let's be honest. We all knew this was going to happen because back in December, because now they're trying to say that this happened recently. No, back in December, we all talked about Davante Adams buying a house in Vegas. We all talked about him talking publicly about him and Derek Carr, how they're best friends, how it'd be cool to meet up again. We all knew this was going to happen. The writing was on the wall. Whether or not the Packers wanted to take the time and read, that's on them. But what they should have done to begin with was went at Davante Adams and not Aaron Rodgers. Let Aaron Rodgers explore free agency. If there was a team willing to make a move, guess what? That would have helped out the Packers because that would have given them draft capital. So what they should have done was they should have just sat back in the driver's seat, worked out with Davante, secure him, so that way if Rodgers did come back, your whole team's set. But they didn't do that. They were trying to appease one player for another.
Maybe go get Carr.
I heard all the Packers fans. I heard all the Packers fans say, like, even when they just realized that they put a cap hit on Davante Adams, or they put, what did they do? They tagged him. I think they tagged him. They tagged Davante Adams, and then right after that, they thought even when Davante Adams bought a home in Las Vegas, they were like, nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna get him another year. And then we're going to still go back into the playoffs, lose to the Niners again, and then do it again. That's the Packers' way, I guess. So, hey, now he's a Raider, and he wants to go win a Super Bowl, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's wild how things work out. And shout out to Papa Sore for the update. Listen, Jordan Davis is meeting with the Eagles, AK Eagles Uncensored. From Eagles Uncensored, I know you're proud. I know you're happy right now. But remember, like I said, focus on that Georgia defensive line and focus heavily on them. Yeah, Robert Woods would make sense for the Raiders. It would. It would give them an awesome number 2 guy, great run blocker. He runs routes, great hands, speed. Hopefully still has his speed after this injury. But yeah, he makes a lot of sense, a ton of sense. But speaking of making a ton of sense, this week we heard our former quarterback, Carson Wentz, was traded from the Colts to the Washington Commanders. Oh. First time I got that right. Let me get your thoughts on the Wentz deal. Big play Slay, former Wentz compatriot fan. You're a guy who followed him. You thought he was the answer. Yes,
play
you thought he was
Wentz,
the
man.
answer, the one. The
They
one guy
play
who was not
Wentz.
better than Daniel Jones. What do you think about this deal to Washington?
I mean, like, I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, Wentz, he was on our team a couple years ago, and then now he's with the Washington Commanders. Like, I don't understand what's going on in the world. Like, Washington commies. Like, what do you mean? Like, they call themselves the commies. That's wild. But like, what? I don't understand this. I understand it for the Colts because like they want to upgrade at that position. That team is completely set. They just need a quarterback. Matt Ryan, I'm just saying. They should go get him. And that team is basically already set. So what they wanted to do was get rid of Wentz because Wentz ain't it, bro. Like Wentz, I don't know, man. He has his resurgence, and he thought he could get his resurgence with the Colts because Frank Reich is over there. But that didn't work. So now he's with the Commanders. That's so weird saying it, but he's with the Commanders, and I guess they want to make the playoffs. That team is solid. You know, you have Terry McLaurin, who I feel really bad for. They have McLaurin, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. You got some guys there. Hey, go. Let's see what happens. It was a good deal too. I felt like for both sides because you get a solid player, and then the Colts get a couple picks out of it. So makes sense.
The gingerbread man attacks again.
Hey, listen, you can't tell me Carson Wentz didn't look like Ronald McDonald on his day off in that press conference.
Oh,
He
my
looked
God.
insane.
Did you see his post on Instagram about like him wearing that black jersey? That black Washington jersey? That was hilarious, bro. That was crazy.
Hey, you're on mute, Vic.
You're on mute, Vic.
You're muted, Vic.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Me neither.
Nope.
Hey, bro, Mark Holmes, what are you doing? Are you trying to calculate the silk? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, don't do my boy Vic like that, dog. You can't be doing my boy Vic like that, bro.
Can't hear you, Vic. You're still out, bro.
Mark
He'll be back.
Holmes is doing his little Cowboys like geography, and he's trying to like mute Vic and stuff so he doesn't have to hear Eagles fans. I don't know. Mark Holmes is up to something. We don't know.
Maybe Mark Holmes he got into the government.
You got me now? There we go.
Yeah, you good, brother.
Now we get you.
I'm about to say he started messing with your volume, bro.
Well, I don't know
Mark
what
Holmes
happened.
did
Like,
something.
Your batteries
Mark
go out?
Holmes definitely did something.
nah,
It was
usually
probably a
you
Giants
get the
player.
warning. Usually you get the warning in the headset, but it didn't give me no warning. Yo, he did it like a reverse hot dog. Oh, we got breaking news?
Oh,
yeah. Listen, I wish a source told me that we got a good safety coming through, but that hasn't happened yet. I haven't gotten that call. But Nightinqs, let me get your take on the Wentz deal.
All right. When I first heard the news, I just started laughing. I mean, I didn't really expect it whatsoever. I mean, I saw a lot of Washington fans, on Twitter saying, get us Watson. Well, more Wilson. I saw more Wilson, but it went from that to Carson Wentz. I mean, it's just I saw Photoshop with him on a Washington uniform. It just didn't feel really real because obviously we drafted number 2 overall. He was our quarterback number 1, and then he got shipped to the Colts, and now he's a division rival. So I mean, yeah, I don't think this is necessarily a bad trade from Washington. I mean, the Colts do not have their starting quarterback now, but I mean, like Vic3 said, I honestly wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Matt Ryan going to the Colts. I'd actually really like that, But even so, the Commanders have their quarterback 1, and based on how Wentz played last year with the Colts, I mean, it wasn't completely awful whatsoever. I mean, he did choke at the time that really mattered the most, but I mean,
Every time.
But But
Yeah, this is their best quarterback since since Cousins,
Yeah, sadly enough, yeah.
So
and he wasn't good either.
include everything, it wasn't that bad. The trade wasn't that bad. I think Washington's happy with what they got. I mean, I respect that. I'm just glad we get to beat Wentz 2 times a year now.
Yeah, that was my whole idea too, bro.
Definitely,
We gotta
definitely.
get a snack.
Yeah, I don't even hate Wentz. I just want to beat him. That's all.
I can't
Damn.
wait for you.
Showing
But
aggressive.
MG, let me get your thoughts. What did you think of the Wentz deal?
You know, it's just funny, bro, because all that told me was that Howie Roseman dominated the Colts front office in that trade. That's all that really told me
Ooh.
from the jump. Because when you look at it, we got a conditional first, which thank you, Carson, for staying healthy, which got us the first. And then we got an extra pick out of that. I think we got a third or something out of it as well.
Yeah.
Like, we got picks out of a guy who we've seen who is slowly like just declining and just his mental wasn't there. And now that he's going to Washington, he has to come back and play us twice a year. You know, people kind of like to compare this to the Ben Simmons thing. It's not kind of like that because I don't really hate Carson Wentz, but you know, it's just kind of funny how life works, right? You know, he goes from the Eagles quarterback like 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, 2019 season. He takes us to the playoffs, gets hurt because Jadeveon Clowney. And we all like, all right, we're gonna run it back next year. Had a great ending to the season. If you would have told me 2 seasons later that we would be talking about Carson Wentz playing for Washington, I would have called you crazy, bro. It's just crazy how like everything works. Like, he's really gonna be suiting up for Washington.
It's not really that crazy. I mean, if you look back in history, look at who we dealt to Washington too.
McNabb. Yeah, McNabb.
Yeah.
McNabb.
They like taking all
Bobby
our
Murphy, 1,000%.
Yeah, they take our old shit.
1,000%,
They took Deshaun Jackson. They like taking our leftovers, bro.
But
Hand me
they always
down.
like taking our leftovers, bro.
Yeah.
They just love
Hey,
that.
bro. They can't make their own food, so they got to take the leftovers, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely. But enough talking about all the opponents. Let's get back to the home team. You know, we had a little splash in free agency. We made a little news. Howie was out there making deals. So this week, the Eagles signed Hassan Reddick. Fellas, let me get what you think about this deal. What does this mean for the team? MG, let me start off with you.
Man, when I seen this deal happen, I was so excited. Hassan Reddick has been a guy I've been looking at playing for the Panthers, and he terrorized the Eagles last year. Had 2 back-to-back sacks against Jalen Hurts. And I know Mailata was playing right tackle that game, but he cooked Jordan Mailata back-to-back times. So now that they get to play against each other in practice and make each other better, that's great. But when I really look at the deal, I just look at we're going to get a guy who's been consistently putting up double-digit sack seasons over the last 2 years. He's going to be playing on a D-line with Hargrave, who's finally found his way in our team. A guy with Brandon Graham, who's still a great veteran. Fletcher Cox, who's a veteran, who's going to be returning. And you got a young guy like Hassan Reddick who can just get after it. This is perfect for our D-line. And I'm finally happy because no disrespect to Josh Sweat. I think he's solid. But he doesn't have to play with Derek Barnett. I cannot tell you how much I did not like Derek Barnett on the field last year.
Oh my God.
These penalties. You think he got a sack?
I'm with you.
15-yard penalty. Oh, you think we got a 4th down or a 3rd down stop? Nope. Derek Barnett roughing the passer. Derek Barnett face mask.
He might have lost a couple games for us, for real.
Might have.
Yeah.
I attended the Eagles and Chiefs game in person. Derek Barnett, a penalty. I'm just like, dude, I can't get away with Derek Barnett penalties. But now we got Hassan Reddick to replace him, who gets production, gets to the quarterback. And honestly, he's been getting better at stopping the run over his career. And you know what I love? He's a guy who knows the city. He knows these fans.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who's going to...
He wants to be here.
He wants to be here. He knows what it takes to work. I don't know if you guys seen it roaming around Twitter, but Hassan Reddick, before free agency started, was literally liking tweets and quote tweeting things about coming back to Philly because he wants to be here. He knows what it means to the city, and he's going to help work with us to try to build back to a championship team. And I just love everything about this signing. He's a guy, get to the quarterback, and he's just a guy who knows what it takes to win. He has the mentality to be an Eagle, and he has everything Philadelphia Eagles written all over it, just from how he grew up and what he does on the field. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. Love the take, love the energy. And he gets to pair up with his, former teammate Sean Bradley. We've seen that they both been excited on this move. But Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts on the the Reddick deal.
Loved it. it's a really good signing. Obviously Hassan Reddick, Temple alumni. Temple alumni. Coming back to Philadelphia. He's finally coming back home, and he's already fitting in with the team and the city. Even though he's there in college, so that's already amazing. It's a really good upgrade for our defensive line. I mean, even though the defensive line for the season, I was still pretty high on. Javon Hargrave had a really, really big leap, which I love. Derek Barnett, we won't talk about him. Josh Sweat, also a really good leap. He's been improving, which I've been liking. We got Fletcher Cox back, with less money, so that's good. We're saving money, and we still get to keep Fletcher Cox. Obviously, one of the best defensive players we've ever had in this franchise. So I'm glad he's coming back. All in all, really good upgrade. Really love this sign for a defensive line, and I don't want to be greedy, but Howie, great signing, but you got to keep going. There's a lot of speculation about Tyrann Mathieu, coming to the Eagles. I would love that. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it'd really help the safety position. And Anthony Harris also got re-signed, which I saw a lot of people disagreeing with. I like the re-signing of Anthony Harris. So Howie, I need you to keep going. But yeah, good signing.
Yeah. It was. We'll get there. We'll get to those signings. But big play. Let me get your thoughts on this Reddick deal. What do you think it means for this defense?
Yeah, I thought this was it was a good deal. I really like the move. Hassan Reddick, he's one of the best young up and coming pass rushers in the game. Carolina had a lot of those last year. Brian Burns was another one. And Hassan Reddick was on the opposite side of him, getting to the rusher. This is a guy who can drop back in coverage as a linebacker if he has to, but he's more of a pass rusher, so he gets to the quarterback. And that's something we missed last year. The year before that, we were, I think, second or top 3 in sacks in terms of teams. And then literally right after that, the year prior or the year following after that, it took a major drop from what it was. And that sucks. So we got Hassan Reddick. We made a splash for him. As Nightinqs said, we need to make more moves. And that's kind of what I'm banking on right now. But Hassan Reddick helps us out a lot. I don't know if I would say it's expected, but like Howie Roseman was talking about it in his presser. Like he wanted hybrid defensive ends or hybrid players on that defense because Jonathan Gannon wants to work and revolve around a system that includes players that can play in a hybrid role. And Hassan Reddick can do exactly that. So, yeah, I'm happy about this move. 3 years, $45 million, $15 million a year. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a good move. And I said earlier, we talk about Coach Gannon, his lack of, blitzing, his lack of putting pressure on offenses. I think Hassan Reddick is that first step of changing all that. I'm really high on this move. But we got to talk about the guy who made the move, Howie Roseman. This week, he got his extension. It was a little earlier than what we all thought. Because, at least for me, I was hoping this would be something that would be done at the end of the season. But the Eagles took it upon themselves, and, they got the deal done now. So, big play. Let me stay with you. What are your thoughts on this Howie Roseman extension?
I didn't think too much of it, because I personally feel like Howie Roseman, for as much as people give him, I think he's a solid, good GM. Good. That might be exaggeration, but he's in the middle point of GMs. He's not great, but he's not terrible. So as you said, it should have probably happened at the end of the season, but 3 years for Howie Roseman, I could take that. It sucks that he still has to draft, but I think Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon can definitely convince him on getting a lot of good players. He could just revolve around that, and that's what he's banking on. But Howie Roseman, he made a move with the Hassan Reddick thing, but hey, man, I could take another 3 years, but hey, it's a solid signing.
What I said about this whole thing was, it's not a long re-signing. You know what I mean? It's only 3 years.
Yeah.
So you got to think if Lurie only gave him 3 years, he's starting to think, you know what I mean? Like this guy better, shape up or he's shipping out, because normally GMs or coaches, they get more time than 3 years.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
something to this.
definitely. Nightinqs, what are your thoughts on this deal?
All right. You obviously know what this fan base has said about Howie Roseman. He's had huge down moments that we've repeatedly say fire Howie. But I think honestly, he's redeemed himself a lot. I mean, this past year's draft, wasn't bad at all. He's got Hassan Reddick. He's got 3 first-round picks after some really good trades, with the Colts and Dolphins. So he's turning it around. And 3, like you said, Vic, this would have been better if this is the end of season, but I actually don't mind the signing. I'm glad Howie's going to be extended 3. Well, I don't know about glad, but I'm completely fine with Howie being extended 3 years. So it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah. MG, my guy, what do you think about this deal? Do you think it was too soon? Do you think it was at the right time?
I'm not really mad at it because I think that I've done some very frustrating things and have very frustrating thoughts about Howie Roseman. I mean, but at the end of the day, no matter all the frustrating moments, with missing the draft picks, he kind of redeemed himself a little bit. But I like the point that was made where Jeff Lurie might be seeing like I'm not gonna give you a 5-year or that big extension. I'm gonna give you 3 years because we've seen some ups and downs. So we're gonna give you this 3 years, and if you keep trending in the right direction, then you get obviously longer and longer extensions. But if you keep showing I'm gonna pass up on this talent, but then I'm gonna redeem myself next year, we can't keep having these up and down years. So I think Jeff Lurie's looking at it. Get to 3 years. We'll give you 3 more years to try to build back to a big contender, and we'll see what happens. So I like it. I think that Jeff Lurie is looking at this the right way, and I'm excited to see if Howie's gonna just keep on doing, because I think last season was a good start, but I think he has to keep on going as far as making moves in the offseason and making the right moves. So he had a good start to the offseason, so hopefully he keeps on going, and hopefully if he does good, he'll get a longer extension when this contract is up. So just keep on going.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely. With the length of time of the contract, it being 3 years, it tells me that you have 3 years to win a Super Bowl. If we're not in that contention, if we're not in that position, then yeah, it's time to move on. There's a guy in the wings waiting. We can try him then. But I think that's the thought process right now. This is, like I said, Howie's at his best when his back's against the wall. So if he has 3 years to get this taken care of, we might see the best out of Howie Roseman in his next coming 3 years. But let me get your thoughts on another thing, because right after Howie was signed, it was right back to work. And the first thing he did was release Fletcher Cox. We all knew the contract. We all knew the dead money. We all knew that what it entailed. But let me get your thoughts as a fan, because Fletcher Cox has been here. He's a respected player. But let me get your thoughts as a fan. What did you think when Fletcher Cox was released? What were your first thoughts?
I was emotionally invested to Fletcher Cox as a player because as long as I've been an Eagles fan, basically since I've been watching the sport, he's been a part of this team. Since he's got drafted, I've always been a diehard fan. So.
He's been an Eagle almost as long as you've been alive.
Yeah, he's been here 20 years, and I'm almost 16. So he's been an Eagle for a little bit. 10 out of the 16 years I've been alive. So since I was 6 years old, I've been emotionally invested with Fletcher Cox, bro.
I guess so.
And the thing is, it hurt, but I understand it, because it's either he's going to come back on a cheaper deal, or we had to go younger. And I've accepted that. It's Brandon Graham's time is not that much longer. I'd be surprised if Brandon Graham was here for 2 to 3 more years. I'd honestly be surprised. I'd be surprised if Fletcher Cox runs it back the year after next. Like, I understand some of these players are getting old. You see Kelsey's always up in the air the last 2 to 3 off seasons. So I'm not surprised that it happened. And like I said, it's that time is coming where the guys in the Super Bowl roster starting to get up in age. You're gonna have to start thinking about the future. We got Devontae Smith, who we hope is the future? What are our other key positions that helped us win a championship? How can we keep fresh legs? You know, I feel like that's the mentality of the front office. How do we keep fresh legs? You know, Jordan Mailata replacing Jason Peters, perfect. If not, Dillard could have developed. So we had a perfect replacement there. Next, how do we replace Kelsey? Dickerson can play center. How do we replace Lane Johnson in 2 to 3 years? We got to figure that out soon. Brandon Brooks retired. So all these older players that me and guys like Big Play Slay have seen for most of our lives, they're probably going to start being out of here, and we're getting fresh legs. So I honestly like it because this team wants to keep fresh legs so we can keep trying to contend and keep trying to get back to what we were, the best team in the league in 2017. Nick Foles or Carson Wentz at quarterback. We had the best all-around team on the field and in the locker room. So we want to keep that up. We want to keep fresh legs, and I like the idea of what the front office is doing.
I think Brandon Graham will be here for another 2 years, but Cox and Kelsey, they're out of here this year. This year.
A lot remains to be seen. I think this deal is going to give him that once and done. Either you prove something or you're gone. But Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts. What did you think as a fan when you heard Fletcher Cox was gone?
You know, obviously, I told you in the DMs, Vic. You know, I think out of everybody in this panel, I think I was the one who joined most early. I mean, I am 16 years old, but I did join sports pretty late. So, you know, even so, I've still saw Fletcher Cox on the roster for the entire time I've been a fan, even if it was a short time so far. But I mean, still, even if I was not a fan for a long time, seeing this, it made me really sad. You know, Cox has been a part of this team for a really long time. He's produced excellent numbers, and again, like I've said, he's the best defensive players we've ever had. I mean, you can argue that, but I mean, that's what I think at least. But you know, at the same time, I had to think a little bit. This did make sense because you know the money issues. You know, he's getting up there in age, etc. But I'm glad that we re-signed him because not only do we get to keep him, he'll be getting less money, and so that helps us with our cap, and we can get even more players if that makes sense. So yeah,
guys, what you got to remember is it's the name on the front, not the one on the back, that matters. You know.
Yeah, but that's why I love having these younger generation on, because these younger kids on, because you know they see it differently than us, because in a way we're more jaded. You know, we've seen players come and go. For them, like MG just said, since he was 6 years old, all he knows is Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
For him not to be on the team or to be told that he was just released, that has to be a shock, and that's why I love their perspective. But Big Play, let me get your thoughts, because you're more of the analytical, kind of like me. You're more of an analytical guy. You understand when production comes at his peak, it's time to move on. But
I don't want to cut
you. Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you, but you know, I had the same feeling with John Runyon and Brent Selleck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those two guys. Those were my guys.
Selleck hurt me a lot too. I agree with that one. Selleck, I seen most of his time, but some of it, I think it was a little bit. But
yeah, those are my guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Russell Douglas. Looks like he's re-signed with the Green Bay Packers for a 3-year deal.
Great for him.
Well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me get your thoughts. What did you think as a fan? You know, like we all said, you've known him for how long? He's been on the team. He's a stalwart. What did you think when he was released? What were your thoughts?
All right, so I'm trying to remember. I think I was sitting on the couch when it happened. I'm on the TV, just scrolling by. Didn't think anything of that day. It was just a solid, quiet day. For a better part of it, I think it was like I think that day it was very slow, like most of it. And then once it got up to like that 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock mark, then it started to like pick up faster. And I'm like, okay, Fletcher Cox, I see that the thing says Fletcher Cox now released. I think Mike Garafolo reported it. That scared me. Like my first thought was like, it's Fletcher Cox. Like, how it can't be Cox. Like, and then once like I started like scrolling by it, I realized that they're just trying to restructure his deal, and that's what they're trying to work on. But it hit me like very hard, like once I like first initially saw it. But that was my like initial reaction.
See, for you all, it's like what would happen with Cox was kind of like for us with Brian Dawkins, only that we actually lost Dawkins.
Yes.
You know, we
Yep.
had to see him. Yeah, we had to see him in another team's jersey for 2 seasons.
Cap
That's heartbreaking.
casualty.
But
Oh,
just as fast as Cox was released, he was quickly signed back to a 1-year deal for $14 million. Now, what are your thoughts on the fact that we re-signed him and the amount we re-signed him for? We all said to save some money, but still, at $14 million, big play Slay. I'll start off with you. Was that a wise decision?
All right. $14 million. So what is he getting paid? $7 million just for 1 year, or is it like 6? What is he getting paid, like, guaranteed?
The guarantees, I don't know. They just reported it was for 1 year,
Oh, okay.
$14 million. We didn't get the specifics out there yet.
So I mean, I don't know if it's a bargain deal, but I kind of wanted 7 million, 6 million, around that range, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's more at this point of his time. There's a lot of other better defensive tackles out there. Aaron Donald, Kenny Clark, Grady Jarrett of the Falcons. You got a lot of those younger defensive tackles, and then you got this Jordan Davis guy coming out of Georgia, who's absolutely dominant. He looks like a freak of nature, and he's gonna come into the league and definitely put a stamp on his name. So the market out there for defensive tackles, it's not like big, but they're starting to get better, and you can see like the increase every year. But I don't know if we should have signed him for 14 million. I just need to see like the fully guaranteed, because if it's high, I don't know if I'm gonna be too mad or sad or like happy or not, because like it's still Fletcher Cox. But I just think we should have went on a bargain deal, a team friendly deal.
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah.
Nightinqs, what are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead. Jerry, go ahead.
It's just that he's declining. You know what I mean? And he's absolutely right. It should be a team friendly deal, and I think Cox knows that, and I think that's why he allowed this to happen.
He's
Yeah.
more of a rotational guy, I think. He's more like, if you put him like in a starting lineup, you think he can give you good production, but it's better for him to come off the bench, or not off the bench, but just rotate in and out. Pause. Rotate with
Rotate Cox.
No, what I mean. Y'all know.
Hey, that makes a ton of sense, because it also saves him. He's not wasting that much energy. He's not getting as tired. You know, that's one of the things. His motor has stalled out a couple times. But Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts on this Fletcher Cox deal.
Yeah, I know I said this a lot of times, but I even said this in the last segment where it was about Fletcher Cox being released. But you know, he still gets to stay here. You know, I mean, Jerry Lee does have a good point though. He's aging. He is declining in production. I mean, it hurts me to say it, but I mean, he is. We saw it this year too. But you know, just giving him this deal and Fletcher Cox understanding and you know, signing this deal. I'm still glad he's still here, and you know, again, we've given him less money that helps with our cap. So I do like this. It's just that there's a question. You know, is Fletcher Cox going to be out of here, you know, next year? Again, it pains me to say this, and it also pains me to say it for Kelsey too. Like I hate saying that, but that's the possibility of these older guys, like we talked about in the last segment. Is this going to be Fletcher Cox's last year? We'll have to see, because I mean, we gave him 1 year, $14 million. So it's going to be a matter of time to see if he's going to be leaving here. But for now, I'm fine with this. Fine with the deal. I like it. But yeah, this is my thoughts.
They're probably gonna have a big retirement party for, you know, both of them guys, Cox and Kelsey.
Well, that's the one thing you're going to learn, you know, as you follow this team and you get older. All good things come to an end after a while. You know, you get to enjoy this, to watch a player's career, you know, for that finite amount of time. And after that, you just stay with the memories. But then it's, you know, next player up, like Jerry Lee said before. You follow the name on the front, not the back. You know, you rejoice in that time that they were here. You know, you got the memories, but you're still sticking with the team. But MG, let me get your thoughts on this $14 million 1 year deal with Cox.
I mean, it was shocking. I thought it'd actually be a little bit lower. I thought it'd be like a $10 million deal instead. But as long as the front office believe that it's team friendly, as long as the front office know they'll be able to work with this contract. Obviously, I don't expect all 14 million to be guaranteed, but we'll see when the other details come out. But as long as the front office believes that this deal works for them, it obviously works for Fletcher Cox. A guy who's a veteran still can make up to $14 million and play in the city and the team that he loves. I mean, that I think it's a win-win for both sides. And I think even though, like I said, we could start seeing some replacements with some of the older guys. Even if we do draft for Jordan Davis to replace Fletcher Cox, I think that he can, like Big Play Slay said, still be a rotational piece. And one thing about Fletcher Cox that I've always mentioned for the last few days, if y'all notice, he still gets double teamed because he has the respect of every offensive line that he plays against. So he's always creating open gaps. I think that's a big reason why a guy like Hargrave broke out last season, because Fletcher Cox playing next to you clogs up a lot of the attention of the offensive lineman. So you still got a guy who attracts double teams on the line, still got a guy who can get you a sack here and there. And people forget, man, Fletcher Cox is still that dude when it comes to run stopping. It's just that he gets a little bit tired when he has to go run after screen plays. And I think that's why, we heard him complain about running for screens last year. That's when you take him out. That's when you put a faster, fresher guy
Yep,
in. That's
I
where the
agree with
rotational
that.
part comes in. If it looks like the other team's running a screen, or it's in that situation where you would run a screen, put in another guy.
Sweat.
And then put it guy like Sweat. Let him be a little bit more quicker, get out there. And then when it's time to get that big boy, that 3rd and 1 stop, you get Fletch in there, he'll get the job done, because he can lose some of his skill and technique, but that strength and power that he has, I feel like that can just never be lost, man. And Fletch still has a little bit of juice in the tank, and I like what he's done with this contract, and it seems like the front office likes it too. So I'm good. I'm good with it.
It tells me that he's a teammate. You know what I mean? That he's signing back up, and he went with it. That's what that tells me. So
Yeah,
I got to give it to him for that.
I like the fact that we have Cox on the deal. It was a cheaper deal for all intents and purposes. But I've made my feelings known for the past 3 years. Production has steadily decreased, and the amount that he's being paid has only been increasing. It wasn't working out. The balance of the scales weren't tipping in the right direction for us. So we had to make a move, and I think this it pressured Cox because it shows him that he has to perform this season.
Yep.
It's a 1-year deal. Do you want to end your career as a Philadelphia Eagle, or do you want to have to search for a team next season? Waste a whole off season dealing with agents, dealing with someone, and then when you re-sign with that team or whatever that is, now you have to build that and start all over again. Or do you want to finish out your career where you started things off and finish it off right? That's the question that's in front of Fletcher Cox right now. But aside of Cox, we also had another re-signing. For some it was a surprise. I thought that this was something that was going to be done. So the Eagles went after and re-signed Anthony Harris to a 1-year deal. MG, let me ask you, was this a good move?
It was a good move. A little bit of a shocker, though. I kind of heard a lot of things that Anthony Harris was going to test out the free agent market. Obviously, it was a lot of great safeties. Still, you got Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus Williams, Marcus May, guys who were available. So, I thought he was going to try to test the market with those guys. But I think it is a solid move. Now, is Anthony Harris like a breakout 10 interception, 100 tackle safety like he can be, like the potential we've seen him play before? No. But I feel like he's like kind of like a security blanket because he's experienced. He's not gonna give up the big plays. As you see, the Eagles gave up a lot underneath last year, but you never seen a lot of like big 1-play touchdowns happen on Anthony Harris's side of the field. So he gives us kind of that protection to know if teams are gonna score on us, they gotta work for it. They're not gonna go over the top on Anthony Harris. And I want to see how he plays. This is gonna be a second year in the Gannon system, so he gets to run it back. He gets to see, do I really like this system that the Eagles are running here? If he likes it, he gets a long-term extension. If not, just like he said with Cox, go free agency, deal with all the agents, do what you do. So it's kind of like a prove-it deal for him to see if he can really fit in this system and be more than just, I'm not going to give it the big play. No, we want you to do that, but we also want you to make plays for us as well. So that's what I thought when this signing happened. So give him another year in the system and let's ride.
Yeah, sounds good. Nightinqs, What do you think? Was this a good move for us to sign Harris again?
Yes, it was a good move. I like this. I like this re-signing from Anthony Harris. MG Nas said, give him a chance, running back, in the system. Hoping for a big jump. I mean, obviously last year he wasn't terrible whatsoever, but I mean, I'm still hoping for a big jump from Anthony Harris in the safety position here. And of course, like he's saying, we still need to sign a guy in free agency for the safety position, but re-signing Anthony Harris will do for the time being. So that's my thoughts.
I saw Anthony Harris coming on a little bit more in the end of the year too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He really did. He started picking it up in the end there.
It's something that it's a defense that he's run before, but it's a different variation with Gannon. And once he got into it and got to the flow of things, he played better. But the one thing is, just like as you said, he's a good player, not great, but he's what Gannon wants: a bend but don't break. That's his thing. He bends but doesn't break. He doesn't make the stupid play. He's a very intelligent player. I think that's what carries him along. He's very smart. Again, I already made it known. I thought that they were going to re-sign him. They did. We did what we had to do with free agency. We tried to get a safety. It didn't work out. We already have two guys who are familiar with the defense. If we're not going to force it, there's no reason to have someone start all over again for no reason. But big play, Slay. Let me get your thoughts. Was this a good move for us to re-sign Harris?
I mean, in a sense, yeah, because there's really not too many safeties out there. I mean, you tried to push for Marcus Williams, that didn't work. I just think it's because the projected money we have left. Most of that comes with the Hassan Reddick deal. He gets most the money. Half the money that we had in free agency goes to Hassan Reddick. So. I mean, you had to get Anthony Harris back. You had to get Rodney McLeod back. You had to get some of these guys that are familiar with the scheme back. As you said, they run a bend but don't break defense, and he fits that defense. I still think we should sign Deshaun Elliott though from the Ravens. We need to make a push for him because he really fits what we're trying to do. He's a hard hitting safety who could definitely fit what we're trying to do. He could play both free safety and strong safety. But Anthony Harris is a solid player. As Jerry said, he definitely picked up in the later part of the season. I felt like that could be because we were playing a lot of, sorry teams. But
man.
Quick point.
You started playing more man. That's what happened.
Quick point too about Anthony Harris, about him. Yeah. It was better having him out there than Marcus Epps running safety this year for us.
That's for sure.
That's one thing I had to say because I don't know. Marcus Epps is a full-time starter. I don't know. Maybe I like him as a part-time in certain packages, but having Marcus Epps as a full-time starter, I was not willing to do that this year.
I will say though, Marcus Epps can definitely hit, man. That dude has some hard hitting.
He can definitely lay the lumber.
He
can definitely lay a hit on
a little
some,
bit inconsistent coverages. A little bit
for a little guy.
I think he made that interception too that they called off.
That one pick. I thought that was a pick, man.
Yeah.
But let me ask the question: with the signing of Harris, do you think that might be a possible re-signing of McLeod now? Because again, we said that if we couldn't get a safety, we already have two before that we had two on the roster. What if we give McLeod one more year? Do you think that's possible? And G, I'll start off with you.
I think that's very possible. Because of the fact of if we're not gonna go get a Tyrann Mathieu, if we're not gonna go get him, what other safety is out there? Like I said, Marcus Epps, a good guy in certain packages, and when he's able to just go out and strictly hit, he can be good. But now as a full-time starter, Rodney McLeod, not the same player he was as far as skills. But as far as that leadership and when it comes down to clutch situations, he kind of took over from Malcolm Jenkins in that aspect. I mean, the Washington game was a perfect example. Bottom line is Washington was driving down the field on that drive. He got the game-winning pick. He said, all right, enough of this. I'm going to read the quarterback size and get to the ball. He's a smart player, just like we said about Anthony Harris. That is what we need on our defense right now. If we're not going to go get a big guy in the Honey Badger, if we're not going to go get a guy who still has a lot of talent. So, honestly, if it's not Tyrann Mathieu, I think it has to be Rodney McLeod. Come back. Him and Anthony Harris can run it back. And I think if they do run it back, I think they could play better than they did last year. So I think if they got used to each other at the end of the year, and I think if we sign them back, I think it's going to be good. So I think it's the right decision to sign them back.
I want the Badger.
Oh yeah, me too.
A lot
But
of
like,
people
I don't
do.
think
To
that's.
be
I
honest,
don't.
a
I
lot of
don't think
people
that's.
do.
I don't think that's
Speaking
going to
of
be
the
there.
Badger,
So
speaking of the honey badger, did you guys see like I think there was like a post like this him in an Eagles jersey and like Julio Jones in an Eagles jersey, bro. That was fire. Like, oh my god. I don't want it to happen, but like, oh my god.
Let
Imagine
me just say this right
honey
now.
badger.
Let me just get my thoughts out there on Julio Jones. I thought previously he was a great player, but the past 3 seasons we know he has an injury. His hamstrings aren't as what they used to be. He has ankle injuries. He's always out. The idea of a Julio Jones is wonderful, but the actuality of Julio Jones makes no sense whatsoever.
no
Like, people
sense.
got to
Yeah,
stop
I
this
mean,
because he has a big name. You want him here. It's great, but you're thinking of the person that was the past, not the
Yep.
present. Julio
The
Jones would
shadow
not
of the
work for
person.
any team right now.
And honestly,
I
Julio
don't
Jones is a
want
big red
him.
flag.
I'm just saying, like him in an Eagles
Oh, I
jersey,
know.
bro. That would be amazing. Like
Yeah.
him, I see the post on Instagram, like him in that midnight Eagles jersey, midnight green. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Like imagine him in a
Hey,
dark green Eagles jersey and
Slay.
wearing number 11.
Slay, you like guys?
Hey, bro. Hey.
No,
I'm sorry, man.
no,
I'm sorry, man.
boys.
What are your thoughts on the signing, though? What are your thoughts on the re-signing?
You're up to me. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. First of all, I know the question is Brian McLeod, but I just want to quickly follow up on what Vic said about Julio Jones. I absolutely agree with you on that one. I don't think we should get Julio Jones either. I mean, you saw the injury concerns. He's not the same player. From a few years ago, if you said, Julio Jones would come to the Eagles, I mean, obviously, Julio
Yeah,
That's
I
my
agree
guy,
with
Philly
that.
halftime. But yeah, man, I big play. What did you think, man? What did you think about the re-signing?
10 pauses after what Jerry just said, but yeah. The Rodney McLeod signing, I could see it happening. If we put him on like a bargain 1-year deal, he's not terrible. I think he's good. When he's on that field, there's a lack of depth on that safety chart. We might need to go safety through the draft, whether it's strong or free. But yeah, man, I think he makes a lot of sense on a cheap 1-year deal. We need a lot of veteranship on this team. We need a lot of leadership. We have too many young guys. We need at least 1 or 2 vets on this team, maybe more. Not at like a high chart, but we still need 1 or 2 vets because a championship team revolves around at least 1, 2, 3 vets. And I would be happy for him if he came back.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this question. Do you feel that in the draft, the Eagles will go safety? And if they do, who do you think they'll go after? MG, let me start off with you.
Ooh, this is a good question. I might be the only one here. I don't think we'll go after a safety, at least in the first round, because I think we're gonna try to get Jordan Davis. We're gonna get one of the middle linebackers in the Kobe Dean or Jesus, I
Lloyd.
forget his name. Oh my god, Devin Lloyd.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go after one of them, and then I think we might go after an offensive lineman replacement. A guy like Tyler Linderbaum really comes to line who can play guard or center.
Nah.
I don't know, man.
Nah. We're gonna go after that guy Forrester or whatever his name is.
Forrest
You know
Gump.
what I'm talking about.
Forrest. I think also too. I think we can go after Derek Stingley, who's a corner. So I think Jordan Davis, one of the linebackers I named, or Derek Stingley are the definite guys I think we're going to go after. I think we get a safety in the second round. A guy to watch out for is Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. He can slip to the second round. Daxton Hill from Michigan, he's really good as well. So those are 2 names who could be there in the second round. So Brisker, Daxton Hill, I think in the second round, if they are there, we could. But I don't know, man. I think Stingley, D-line, and linebackers are the guys we're going to get in the first round. So that's what I think. And maybe even a receiver too. as well in the first round. So I wouldn't be surprised if those happened.
Hey, I may be, but that was a great take. Nightinqs, what are your thoughts? Do you think we go safety? And if we do, who?
Nah, not in the first round. No, I don't think we'll get a safety in the first round. I do know that we'll. Hopefully we'll be chasing out for defensive lineman, middle linebacker, or just linebacker, right? I'm really high on the Kobe Dean. Hope we can get him. And I mean, there's also been talk about a corner, as our third pick in the first round too. I mean, obviously, target talent is Sauce Gardner, but we have to see does he fall to that spot? Derek Stingley, even Kyrie Elam, if you want to put him into the mix as well. But in the first round, nah, I don't really think so. Second round, we might also chase for a wide receiver. I think I've said this a million times before. So my Penn State bias is showing. I really love Jahan Dotson. I'd love him to come to our team. Penn State alumni to the Eagles. It's like Miles Sanders. That'd be amazing. But
Kirby Joseph,
maybe round 2 or round 3. Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna pick a safety in the first round. Actually, I really don't.
Well, Joseph, I don't know. I guess he's more projected of a second, third rounder.
Yeah,
so if that's a good possibility. But we'll see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
Big play. What are your thoughts? Are we going safety?
Yeah,
Not necessarily first, but are we going to go safety? And if so, who are we getting?
I think it's going to be the second round. I think it's going to be a split here. All three was second round. I think it should be the second round because the first round you should definitely address defensive end, cornerback, receiver, maybe lineman. You also have to address maybe like depth in that first round just to see what you have there on the table. You could get best player available. But I'm looking at Kirby Joseph, Daxton Hill, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Pithier, Smoke Monday, my guy, Auburn fan. I would also say Vernon McKinley from I think he's from Baylor or Oregon. I don't know how I forgot, but Vernon McKinley for sure. And then the other Texas A&M safety, he's a strong safety. I forgot his name, but he's another solid safety. There's a lot of guys in this class that can make, a lot of, great safeties. But I think it's going to be more in the later rounds. But that's how I'm feeling.
Great take, man. I love it. Let me ask you a question because one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is because, like I said, you're the younger generation of Eagles fans. You have a different perspective of seeing things than what we did. Like I said before, like we're more jaded, if you will. Like I said, we've seen players come and go. We have, affinity with some players that we have that, they are hated. But again, Philadelphia Eagles, we love them through and through. But let me get your takes from everyone. How do you feel this team is headed? Do you think they're headed in the right direction? What are your thoughts on the team in general? MG, I'll start off with you.
I think we are in the right direction because when you look at it, we have a quarterback on a rookie contract who's still developing. So any team who has that is already looking good, unless Daniel Jones is your rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, because I don't think Daniel Jones is good, but that's a completely different talk. But I think they always say it's hard to win. It's hard to develop and build a team with a quarterback on a max contract or his second contract because it takes up a lot of money. You can't pay everyone else. So first off, the quarterback situation is fine as long as he develops. When you look at the offensive line, the defensive line, the trenches, we're building towards that. And I think we're in the right direction in those aspects. I think the running backs, Miles Sanders can be a 1,000-yard back. He can be a guy who can score multiple touchdowns a year, but health concerns and stuff like that come into play. But I think Miles Sanders can be a great running back. Devontae Smith, I've said it since we drafted him. I said it after last season. I'm going to say it until he's not. He is a wide receiver one in the NFL at the highest level. So when it comes to that, I think we're good there. Pro Bowl corner and Darius Slay, I think he'll repeat basically the same season he had last year. Just turnovers, tackles, not allowing big plays, everything Gannon asked Slay to do, he showed up and showed out. So I think this team is in the right direction. Got a quarterback on a rookie contract, got some great young talent at receiver and running back, and we're slowly trying to build back that defensive line and the offensive line. We're starting to find replacements there as well. So I I think we are going in the right direction, and I love where we're going.
Great take. I love it. I love it. Nightinqs, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the team, and do you think that we're headed in the right direction?
Yes, we are most definitely headed in the right direction. I mean, last year, I mean, obviously ended on a sour note. But think about this: everybody expected us to not win more than 4 games. I think I saw somebody say we're only going to win 1 game, and they wouldn't be nowhere near the playoffs. And guess what happened? We made the playoffs with the first-year head coach, a quarterback who did not even
first year starting.
Yes, exactly. And then a rookie wide receiver too, who by the way is going to be an elite wide receiver for years to come. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's true, right? Miles Sanders, with the injury concern, I still love him. My favorite player on this roster right now. Even though what happened last year, he needs to fix the injury concerns. I think he'll step up next year. This offensive line. You have a great offensive line coach, in Stoutland, and it is aging, but I mean, I still regard it as a really good offensive line. Even so, and with the defense, we have 3 first-round picks. If we spend all that on defense, and we get we sign Hassan Reddick, and if we sign other defensive players like Tyrann Mathieu, or even just resign Rodney McLeod, and the defense gets better, and Jonathan Gannon finally steps up, I think this team is definitely going to have a winning season next year, and they're most definitely making the playoffs. I think we're going to be. I don't know if I'd go like really far, because I mean you never know, right? But I think this team is headed in the right direction, and if we play our cards right, we're going to be a really good team for years to come.
Hey, I like where your head's at. Big play Slay. Let me get your thoughts. Where are we at with this team, and are we headed in the right direction?
Is Big play Slay there?
I was say, Slay, you there?
He had to go take a dump.
Well, with Slay, most like there might be some technical issues, but we'll move on real fast, because I want to get to this topic, because again, this all came about with me putting out a tweet earlier in the week about Jalen Hurts and saying, the more you put on this kid, the higher he'll rise. And there was a lot of talk back saying, Jalen Hurts isn't the guy, noodle arm, this and that, but no one ever gave a concise reason as why he wasn't the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I seen that there's a division between, our generation and the younger generation. So let me get your thoughts, because I want to hear what you think of this guy. You've seen him in college more. You followed his career. You've seen him with his first 2 seasons in the NFL. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? MG, let me get your thoughts first.
Jalen Hurts. I mean, this dude, I've known about Jalen Hurts for a while. Like, it's actually getting to a point where it's like, I feel like he's a veteran, because I've literally watched him since he had the blonde dreads at his first year at Bama to now. And that's been like a 6-year gap. So Jalen Hurts, I think, has a lot of potential. And I think as of right now, he is the Eagles starting quarterback. And I've always preached all year, and your franchise quarterback has to have some sort of game-changing talent. Rather it's with the IQ, your ability to read defense, your arm, your accuracy, your athletic ability. You have to have some type of game-changing talent. And I think Jalen Hurts has that with his athleticism and with his ability to move outside the pocket and extend plays. I think he can change the game in that aspect. And his arm is honestly getting better. Now, I know there's people watching this video or this stream who's like, come on, you got to look at the bad things. And yes, he has made some mistakes, but people forget, man, this dude had his first year starting. That was essentially his rookie year, and he made the playoffs. What I honestly would like to know from some people, a guy who's in his first year starting, basically in his rookie season, you expect him to go out and win a playoff game against the greatest quarterback of all time. I always
did they think we were going to the Super Bowl? That's my question.
And that's my question.
How far do you want this guy to go?
Like at least we made the playoffs. Like I agree. we got to be critical on our quarterback. And he made some bad reads in the Tampa Bay game. No question, Quez Watkins had a touchdown. And if he threw it earlier, Devontae Smith had one too. But I really think his arm has been developing. I mean, you look at some of the throws. Remember against Washington, that Tuesday night game, he threw a beautiful back shoulder to Greg Ward. It's like 4 other quarterbacks who can make that throw currently in the NFL. And 4 of them have made the playoffs multiple times in their career. I mean, he's made great throws. That Quez Watkins throw down the sideline against San Francisco, 91 yards, a beautiful touch. He's made good throws this year. He's shown that he can make throws. It's all about him just reading the defense better and being consistent.
Yeah, his rookie stats are better than most quarterbacks that have started.
When you look at Hurts' first 18 to 20 starts, he has the same stats as guys like Lamar Jackson and guys like Deshaun Watson in their first 18 games. Now, I'm not saying he is those guys right now. I'm not even saying he will be those guys. But the bottom line is Jalen Hurts in his first year starting, which is basically his rookie year, willed this team to the playoffs, led this team. And I like that quote that you said. The more you put on this kid, the more he rises. He got benched at Bama. Bama needed him again in the national championship. He showed up. Went to Oklahoma and broke all of Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield's record. He had 50 touchdowns or 40 touchdowns in Oklahoma in his final season. This dude is also the most coachable quarterback. I think one of the most coachable quarterbacks in the league. He listens to his coach. He does what his coaches tell him. He executes the game plan when he's at his best. I think Jalen Hurts should be the current quarterback. Now, if he doesn't get any better in the next 2 to 3 years, obviously that is not great. But from what he's shown in year 1, the flashes he's shown to be great, I think you give him at least another year, a year and a half or 2 years, dude. Because I think basically in his rookie year, taking us to the playoffs, I think that's something that we really have to appreciate. And I think he's the guy right now.
If he takes another step and we go another game further in the playoffs, I think he stays around. You know what I mean? But if he doesn't match his gameplay this year, or a little better, he's got to go.
Yeah, that's fine. If he doesn't match if he underwhelms this season, then yeah, we can talk about him leaving. But from the flashes he's shown, I'm willing to let him develop for this offseason.
Definitely. Nightinqs, what are your thoughts on the Eagles starting quarterback?
I absolutely agree. There's been so many rumors, and I'm so glad those rumors are done, especially a Watson, the Philly, and stuff like that. Oh boy, those rumors suck. Every time, so some of my friends, who talking with me saying, would you want Watson on his team? And every time they told me, I said no. I ride with Jalen Hurts. Okay, look. I am definitely not saying he's the greatest quarterback of all time already. No, definitely not. I can still see his downside. I can still criticize him. I can still criticize him about the bad throws he's made. But saying he's absolutely terrible, saying he has a noodle arm, saying he has a terrible arm is just very, very untrue. I mean, look at the 49ers game. Like MG Nas said, an incredible pass, right on the money. Quez Watkins, by the way, we didn't score on that drive. That was absolutely terrible. I had no idea why we didn't score on that drive. But even so, we got into first and goal range, and that just I got the score at that time. But even so, it was just an excellent play made by Jalen Hurts. Obviously he has that issues of, reading the field, his decision making. And by the way, Blue City Empire Sports, he's saying, stop saying this is rookie year. But to be fair, it is technically his rookie year because he barely played his actual rookie year. Because every time before he started for the New Orleans Saints, every time he came into the game, it was literally for some stupid option play, and then he would get benched right after again. So this is technically his first rookie year, as a starter. And even so, he still showed massive improvement. Obviously, his running game, his dual threat ability. When nothing's there, when it seems like nothing is there, he can easily pick up a first down, and that keeps the drive alive. And his passing ability will keep improving. I mean, at least I think it will keep improving because he has also made some excellent throws this year. So you can say what you want about Jalen Hurts, but I'm sticking with my guy, and I think he should. Pretty much he is staying this year, and I think we should stick with our guy Jalen Hurts. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, definitely agree. Big play Slay. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts?
My bad. I have to go do something right quick, but
You got to do a Paul Pierce. You got to get your Lamar Jackson
hell
on.
no.
Hey, Big Flex
um,
about to come in here with some fire takes after he let that one go.
I appreciate you for not
Gotta get his
muting
double
it and then
moonwalk
taking it in the
on.
bathroom with you.
Yeah.
We didn't get that weird echo.
Pause. Oh my god. Jalen Hurts, I think he's a good, young, solid quarterback with a bright future. He just needs a little bit of things to work on. He has mechanic issues. His lateral quickness and like how he moves out of the pocket. That's one thing that he loves to do, moving out the pocket, giving himself some time to buy and make plays happen. But his problems are in the pocket, making plays in the pocket. Can he be a quarterback that, can consistently make good throws for 18 games in a regular season? That's what we're banking on. I think he has the makings to be a good quarterback. He has that Russell Wilson potential. I don't know if that's an exaggeration, but he has that type potential. He just needs a little bit of things to work on. And I think Sirianni can work on that in terms of his missing reads, just not seeing the field well. That's the things that he needs to work on, and I think he can work on that. But it definitely takes a lot to be a good quarterback in this league. Now that Watson's out of the mix, Wilson's out of the mix, and Rodgers is back with Green Bay, he can just worry about himself and not like have to think about, am I going to leave Philly or not?
You got to break out the binoculars.
See, I want to address this comment right here and a little bit.
That actually leads me to my next question because that was one of the things a lot of people say. You get some of it, but they don't really fully explain. So let's just talk about it right now. Do you think that Jalen Hurts will be able to progress next season? MG, my guy, you already locked and loaded. Let it go.
So, and look, I criticize Jalen Hurts too. So I'm not a guy. I'm not going to sit here and defend him all day, but I do have to say, when it comes to his ability to read a defense and consistently make throws from the pocket, as Big Play just stated, that has been an inconsistent part of his game. But at the same time, that I believe that is something you can develop, because when you talk about reading a defense, it's kind of like, it's kind of something you can learn in the book. That's something you can learn through film. That's all about film and preparation. Reading a defense is all about knowing the defensive tendencies, knowing where this guy's going to be, knowing where your guy's going to be, and making the play accordingly. It's kind of like taking what the defense gives you, right? So if the coaches are going into the film room week in and week out with Jalen Hurts saying, this defense is going to be here, this corner's pressing, this safety's playing single high, you need to make this throw here. That's all it takes. And then Jalen Hurts goes out, reads that, and makes the play accordingly. So I think that, people always say, oh, you can't coach someone who can't read a defense. Well, reading a defense is not just simple. It's not just something that, oh, he should just already be able to do because he's a quarterback. No, that takes time. Because reading college defenses, it's a completely different than reading NFL defenses. Why do you think guys like Zach Wilson, who was a highly regarded talent this past draft class, struggled the first 8 games? Because he reading and going up against an NFL defense is completely different. Trevor Lawrence, generational talent. He shouldn't be throwing picks, right? Because he's a guy who can read a defense. But the bottom line is, I'm not going to be here to defend Hurts because he still has to get better. But I have to say, his ability to read a defense should get better. I believe he will be able to progress, because that's something that you fix in a film room. You let Jalen Hurts know, like I said, depending on certain coverage, he's pressing, he's playing zone, this guy's doing that linebacker's blitzing when he does this. That's something you go over in film. And as long as the coaches are doing that with him and he keeps improving on his accuracy and throws from the pocket, I think he'll be fine, man. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. One thing you got to understand, too, is look at the amount of interceptions Jalen threw this year. Only 9. Fumbles, yeah, but that's because of running. But if you can't read defenses, wouldn't you think your interception rate would be much higher? Although, yes, there were some passes that should have been intercepted. I will give you that point because I know that'll be the next thing made. But you also got to take a look at that. If he can't read the defense, you got to be a hell of a lot smart not to make bad mistakes. That's one thing I think about. So when you say he doesn't know how to read defense, I don't think that's totally true.
Right.
Every quarterback, that's how they get to the NFL. No quarterback comes to the NFL not understanding how to read defenses.
Right.
May have
I mean,
trouble.
he proved it. He proved it in like one of his interviews.
Yeah,
he was talking about
Goddard, when you talking about that
he was
play,
breaking it down.
Yeah,
he was breaking it down.
The defense was supposed. The defense messed up that play. That's why I didn't look at Goddard, because he said
you may have trouble sometimes identifying a look, especially if it's something like a disguised coverage. But that doesn't mean necessarily you're not reading the defense, because you might be over reading the defense. You might be not. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes with it. We all don't know because we're not on the field. We don't know what the plays were called on each end. So a lot goes into that when you're saying Jalen doesn't know how to read the defense. Can he improve? Does he need to improve? By all means, yes.
Yes.
He does need to improve on all facets of his game. He needs to improve. But is he horrible? I don't believe so. But I don't want to express my opinion too much because this is about you guys. So Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts. Do you think Jalen Hurts can progress?
Yes. In the last segment, I said, we need to stick with our guy Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna say he's gonna progress next season. Like you guys just said. I mean, like MG Nas said, reading a college defense and reading an NFL defense is two extremely different things, right? And obviously, you made the example of Zach Wilson too. I mean, this huge talent picked second overall, and look at him. He's struggling with it. He's immensely struggling with it too. He's doing I know he's a rookie, but I mean he's doing terrible every single game with that aspect, right? So yes, and again, I know Blue City Empire Sports doesn't like us saying this, but I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it. This was his rookie year, and this is his second year. He's most definitely going to improve. And reading an NFL defense is not something where you just sit for a second, you learn like really quickly. Like,
can you read a defense?
I want to ask the people who saying this: can y'all read a defense? Since he shouldn't be reading a defense, can y'all go out there? Y'all look at just a simple coverage. Look at a cover 3 with a quarterback spy and 2 contains at the edge. Can you read that defense?
Exactly. Yeah, what are they going to do?
We all know you're a hater in some sense. Stop it. Come on, you're Logan. Jesus.
It's not something you just learn a day and they're like, oh, I'm an expert in reading NFL defense. No. That's not how it works, okay?
Giants fans.
He's still upset. You know what it is? I think it was that big play set him up this year with the talk of Daniel Jones being better than Hurts. Once he saw that he had a good amount of Jones for the year, the hate set in. The hate was hard like barnacles. But big play. What do you think?
Put his thumb in the mashed potatoes.
Can a third year quarterback? Is there any chance for any progression? Is that possible? Because some people think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Wow.
I personally feel like Jalen Hurts can progress. I think the troubles that he had is, and he still has to this day, coming out of college and coming from Oklahoma, that Lincoln Riley offense, and then Nick Saban prior to that. He's had trouble with reading defenses, just scanning the field in general. For what he has to work with, I feel like you got to give the guy some slack. Like, his offense isn't the greatest, but you could say he has talent there, here and there. With Devontae, Goddard, you got Miles, you got Quez.
I just think if the guy made a few more catches, people wouldn't be talking this crap.
I agree with you.
It's not all on him.
Also, people need to realize, just real quick, that he has Nelson Aguilar 2.0 in his receiving core. That wears number 18.
Two.
I don't like making excuses, but also you got to remember Dallas Goedert. He has some crucial drops.
Yeah,
Goddard he's so great, but
how many touchdowns were taken away from Jalen?
Yeah,
a lot of that plays into it. Those are things that people don't remember.
I agree.
So instead of 27 touchdowns, or how many touchdowns did he have this year?
He had 20.
What was it? 10.
I thought it
was 16.
I
think passing, 10 rushing.
Yeah, he had 26 total, but I think 16 passing.
So if you add 5 more to that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
And that boosts up the QBR. It boosts everything up. Yeah. But let me ask a question, because like I said, I brought you on because I want to get your take on the way you see things, your generation. Let me ask you all, What was your most memorable Eagles loss?
Oh no.
Oh,
MG, let me start off with you, my guy.
All right, so there's a lot of them. There's multiple Saints games. There's 3 of them that come to mind instantly. I don't know if I can name one. I'm gonna just give you a couple and just explain it real quick. First one was that wild card game, 2013, game-winning field goal. Saints hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, that one hurt. That was one of my first playoff games, like that I can remember as an Eagles fan. That one hurt. Also, another Saints game, Alshon Jeffrey, ball in his hands,
Oh,
lets it get past him. Marshawn Lattimore taking that the other way. Game over. But the most memorable one, even though it's not a playoff game like the other ones were, Nelson Aguilar. Carson Wentz threw an absolute laser in the pocket. Go catch it and go get a touchdown. We run it out of Atlanta with a dub. And then next day, a few days later, the guy on the news says we was catching those babies out of the building, unlike Aguilar. That made it the most memorable, was the jokes, the mockery that was made out of Nelson Aguilar after that game. Because, I mean, it was just so disappointing. It was just so deflating. Like, me watching that play in that game, Wentz doing it all, throwing plays while he's getting sacked, and then just to see Aguilar just drop it when it's right there. He had space to make a play after the catch. That one was just that one will never erase my mind, along with the Alshon Jeffrey catch and the drop in the Saints playoff game. So those 3 games, they will never erase my mind as long as I live.
Yeah, all 3 were tough in their own right. Nightinqs, my guy. What's your most memorable Eagles loss?
Oh my god, this is gonna be tough to talk about. But all right, I'll give you a regular season one. I'll give you a playoff one. I think that's fair. Okay, so for I'll just say the regular season one first. This one, I mean, I don't know if other people would say this, but I remember that 2019 Dolphins game. I think it was in Miami. That one was absolutely brutal. I remember. I mean, I think there's also drops involved with that one. I don't know necessarily Aguilar. I think I remember Ertz even dropping one that could have been a touchdown. That was extremely painful. And I think that Dolphins team, was it didn't go as 0-16, but a lot of people said they were like the worst teams in the league at that point. Even though I think they beat the Patriots that last week, for them to lose out the seed. Even so, that was still an inexcusable game to lose. That got us to 5-7. In the long run, we still made the playoffs with the 4-game stretch. I remember that season fully well. But for the playoff loss, okay, this one's extremely tough. But, so basically, if you remember, we were defending champions in the playoffs once again. Double doink. I think it was double doink, yeah. And then we advanced to the New Orleans Saints home. And I'll admit it. This is my early years of being a fan, and I was starting to get more into American sports. So I was not as big of a fan as I was now. But even so, that loss was so heartbreaking. I only looked at this. I didn't even know the context of that. If you remember the context, it was very tough. Who was it? Dang it, I forgot the wide receiver.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey. It was right in his hands, and Marshawn Lattimore got it. I looked at the store, and it completely broke my heart. Honestly, we beat the Rams that year too. So if we went to that, I don't know about honestly, you can argue about if we would go back to repeat as NFC champions, but we beat the Rams that year. It's playoff situations, and is Alshon Jeffrey dropping that pass that never happened. So that was one of the most memorable playoff losses that I've seen. I don't think the Seattle Seahawks wild card really is that memorable for me. It still was tough because it was like Wentz's first playoff start, and Jadeveon Clowney didn't even give him any time, and he got injured immediately. But yeah, that Saints one was tough. So I'm just gonna say that.
Yep. Yeah, that Saints one's well the heartbreaker. But BPS, let me get it. What was your worst Eagles loss?
Overall worst Eagles loss.
The one that hurt you the most. The one that made you look at your mom and your eyes were just welled up and you just wanted to cuddle. What was that loss for you, my guy?
I would say actually 2013. It was against the Cowboys. This was a game where I think Matt Barkley started for us, or he was in the game. He actually threw 3 interceptions. It was 17-3. And you might just think it's just a regular game. You get like spanked by the Cowboys. This was a season where the Cowboys defense was historically terrible. Like they were trash, they were dog water, and we go out there and score 3 points. So that's what made it worse. I that loss sucked. And Matt Barkley just made it worse with 3 interceptions. That just sucked.
Yeah. Halftime, look, Philly halftime, that was probably my second worst, even though that was a Super Bowl appearance. But let me just say mine before Jerry Lee wants to throw his in. Mine's had to be the NFC Championship game against the Buccaneers. We're closing out that stadium. We got Rocky Balboa in the building, setting it up. It was we were hyped, and then a barber catches the interception and he cuts us for a win. So that was probably my most memorable loss. Jerry Lee, you got one?
Yeah, mine was the Patriots too. The Super Bowl. McNabb puking on the field.
Terrell Owens went off that game. I did every bit of research I could.
Dude, we got cheated. We got cheated, man.
Rodney Harrison. I always got a bad taste in my mouth for Rodney Harrison, just because the people who grew up before me didn't get to experience a Super Bowl earlier.
Logan, let me just tell you that it warms me up inside knowing that this is your worst loss.
Yeah.
Especially because it's from us. So for me to you, I appreciate it. Thank you for putting a smile on my face.
Hey, you know what, Logan? All Giants aside, bro, that just it makes me feel so much better about all the losses we just talked about.
Yeah, that was a great Eagles win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, fellas, let me ask one more question. This is our final question, and it's a pretty important question. I'm gonna start off with you, BPS. Let me get your honest thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this Eagles fan base?
I mean, there's like thousands of words to describe our fan base, but I would say it's a very passionate fan base. That's one thing you have to like when you get to the city of Philadelphia. You'll understand that it's like very passionate. We love our sports teams. I'd say it's very passionate. It's a very heroic place. A lot of great things have happened, like historically. I would say our fan base is very, needy, if I could put it that way. It's very needy.
You said needy?
We need certain things.
Needy.
Yeah. Like, we need everything. Like, if Allen Robinson's there, we can go get him. If Devontae Adams is there, let's just have them all. Like, that's kind of like what our fan base is like. I just think our fan base is a diehard fan base. We love our team. And we overly are passionate, like overly. It's like to another level. But yeah, I love our fan base. I think it's different, and I like that about us. I'm glad I could root for a team where it's not the same as what everyone else is trying to do. I'm quite happy about that.
Oh, hold on.
Ooh,
now, Logan, you posed a good question. Just real fast, we'll give it a quick around the horn. I'm going to say, for me, it'll always be 2017. Well, real quick, Jerry Lee, what you got, 2008 or 17?
Oh, 17.
MG?
17, but 8 was a great one.
Nightinqs?
Has to be 2017.
Slay.
It's football.
It's none other than
football's number one sport in America. Come on.
Yes.
It's got to be that way.
Yeah, that would be for me too. But Nightinqs, let me get your thoughts real fast. What are your thoughts on the Eagles fan base?
Like Vic Slay said, we are extremely passionate, and I absolutely love that. We love our sports teams. Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies. And you can say we get overly passionate. I mean, you can talk about I'm just gonna say Ben Simmons.
Logan with the daggers.
But you can talk about the Ben Simmons situations and stuff like that. You can talk about the city of Philadelphia after he won the Super Bowl. Okay, you can keep saying that, but I don't care. You guys may hate us, but we don't care. Okay. All right. So yes, we are overly passionate. I love that profile about us though. It's better honestly. And you can have a very boring fan base. I'm not like saying, I'm not gonna say a specific team, but you can have really boring fan base. So what's the fun in that exactly? That's why I think I love the Eagles fan base. He's really passionate. So if it was one word to describe it, it'd be passionate.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. MG, what do you think, my guy?
Yeah, these guys said some of the best things. I mean, you look at this fan base, I believe we have the best fan base in the league when it just comes to pure passion, showing up, showing out, sold out stadiums. And I was talking to someone about this the other day. When you come to this city of Philadelphia, you don't have to be a sports fan at all. You can just be a random guy. Your favorite sport can be cricket. You're going to come here and you're going to instantly see someone with an Eagles hat. You're going to see someone with an Eagles jersey going to work. You're going to see someone, outside of Lincoln Financial Field. You're going to see someone with a Flyers hoodie. You're going to see someone with a Sixers hat. You're going to just see that. And I love that about our fan base. We're very passionate. Now we sometimes can get a little bit delusional when we win. I feel like when we win, sometimes we really, really just take it to the team that we beat. But that's about our passion. That's because when we win, we want to let you guys know we were better than you, especially on that night. And I love that. Sometimes we can be divided when it comes to our big positions. Obviously, our quarterback is, it can have some division. But the reason why, you get some of the dividedness between the fans, sometimes you get the debates between the fans is because at the end of the day, we all have one common goal as a fan base, to get this team a championship. And we're not in the front office. We're not on the field, but we're
all GMs though, bud.
That we all are.
Yeah, it's the greatest team in sports.
We took it a step from Monday morning quarterback, and we just became GMs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
all
it's
armchair
crazy,
generals,
bro.
man.
Like
This is the greatest team in sports right here. Right here.
Like,
Let me just get to this real fast. Let me just answer this because and it'll take more time because we're about to wrap this up. But just to give Logan a quick once over, for us as Eagles fans, Giants are not our rival. It's going to be the Cowboys. For us, any win against you is a good win. For you all, you have the scars of miracles of Meadowlands that have to haunt you year in and year out. So for us, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the team itself, but we don't look at you at the same way you see us.
yes.
For us, it's kind of like the Redskins. We play you 2 times a year. We don't really think of it. Our thing is we don't like the Cowboys. We hate it, just like everyone else in the division. That's our main rival. Before, the 70s, it used to be, the Giants because of our proximity. But that's not the case anymore. All our hate is derived right to Dallas.
They try to rub it in. They try to rub it in, but all their stuff is like from when they were VCRs. You know what I mean? Like they try to make their team out to be something they're not.
Yeah, our greatest wins
all
will
over
always be the
TV.
miracles, and for you, those will be always your worst losses, the miracles in Meadowlands. So yeah, like I said, we don't really think of the Giants the same way you think we do. If anything, like I said, we scar you more than anything. But listen, fellas, I appreciate you all for coming through. I love the takes you all had. We had a great conversation. I wanted to showcase you all to show you, just because you're younger Eagles content creators, it doesn't mean you don't know what you're talking about. Because you all gave concise, great takes, every single one of you. And I appreciate you all for coming through. But Big Play Slay, let everybody know where they can find you, my guy. We're gonna wrap this thing up.
Yeah. I just want to say
Put the oranges down.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing. Age is not a nothing but a number. That's all it is. Age is just a number.
What, you think you're older than what you are?
Oh.
You ain't above a ball
I'm
from your mom.
I'm 41 in reverse here, so that's what
Probably shorter than your mom's boobies.
Yo. But yeah, you can go find me at Big Play Slay on YouTube and Twitter. That's where I make my posts, and whatever I'm doing, you can go find it there. Yeah, man, that's where you go find me. Appreciate you for having me on, Vic and Jerry. This was one very fun podcast. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through. Like I said, man, I love your takes, man. And we'll do this again. Nightinqs, my guy. let them know where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me, just by going on the search bar on YouTube and just type in Nightinqs. I'm the only one on YouTube, so you can find me easily there. You can also find me on Twitter as well. And if you also, actually, I forgot to mention, if you go on my channel, you can also join my Discord server. I think I have like about 30-ish members right now. Let's try and get that up. Subscribe count. I actually gained 2 subscribers during this stream, so I'm only 5 away from 230. 240. My bad. So let's get to 300 pretty soon, or at least 240. And even though you said where you guys can find me, I just want to shout out Vic3 and Jerry Lee for letting me on this podcast. I had so much fun. Here on this another episode of the Big Ticket. I want to shout out Big Play Slay. He's a friend of mine. Talking birds with me, and also MG Nas is nice. It was nice, meeting you and hearing your takes on it too. I'll most definitely follow you up on Twitter instead of your YouTube. I got you. All right, so that's all from me.
Hey, that's what's up. I'm glad that people out here. If you went out and went and subscribed to my guy, thank you. If you haven't, please go out to everyone, subscribe, throw a like, and if you can, comment, so it helps out the algorithm for all of them. But MG, let the folks at home know where you're coming from. Where you at?
Yeah, you can just type in MG Nas in the sports bar. It's Talking Sports with MG Nas. You can sub up there on Twitter. It's MG Nas. So, like I said, man, I love the Eagles, Sixers, even a little bit of baseball, and I show that through my content. So, if y'all just want to come and talk sports, man, I do a lot of live streams. So, but I appreciate everyone on here, Vic, Jerry, Nightinqs, Big Play Slay. Me and Big Play Slay, we talk a lot, and it's just great to be up here, talk football with amazing content creators, and just enjoy it, man. That's all this is about, just having fun talking football. And I can't wait to do more collabs and all this stuff with you guys. So I appreciate everyone, and
Definitely. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, we will be collaborating more often. Jerry Lee, my guy, let the folks at home know where they can find you.
Well, I appreciate all the guys that came on here. You guys are awesome. We'll do this again. But you can find me at Backyard Birds Podcast right here on the Big Ticket.
Hey, that's what's up. Everybody that came through today, thank you so much. The 11 in the chat, I appreciate you all. Listen, man, if you can, please go to my channel, subscribe. Like I said, hit a like, and if you could, leave a comment. It helps us all out. It pushes it out there for everyone. Everyone on this panel right now, if you can, please also go there and subscribe. Like I said, leave a comment. Helps us all out. But, I thank you all for coming through. Y'all know who I am. It's Vic3. You see me in the chats. You'll see me always supporting great Eagles content with my guys. You'll always find me with my guy here, Jerry Lee, every Saturday. Of course, here on the Big Ticket. And you'll find me every Wednesday with Foothills. We got AK Uncensored and Gio from the 215 on our show, East Meets West, every Wednesday. Again, I appreciate you all for coming through. It was a great show, fellas. I love your takes, like I said. We're going to do this again. But everybody at home, have a great day. Hey, we're out.
Peace.